When the last dragon exhales, the world forgets wonder, unless one thief can steal the breath back. I felt that breath once, and it left a scar over my heart that still burns when the wind shifts. My name is Kael Voss, and I stand on the edge of everything I've ever stolen and everything I still might lose. The beach crunches beneath my boots like broken promises. Each step toward Mount Vermora feels like walking backward through my own memories. I've cracked vaults in the floating cities of Aetherhold. I've danced across the death traps of the whispering tombs. But nothing, absolutely nothing, has ever felt like this. The air tastes of sulfur and endings. Every breath I take scorches my lungs with the memory of dragon fire. That night, 3 years ago, replays behind my eyes like a curse. When the dragon spoke, not roared, but spoke. It knew my name. It could have killed me. Instead, it marked me. A warning carved in fire. Now that mark pulls me forward like a fishhook through my soul. The Heart-Flame waits inside Mount Vermora. They say it's the last true magic left in the world. They say whoever holds it holds the power to reignite wonder itself. They also say no one survives the dragon's second warning. The mountain growls again. And this time I feel it in my teeth. Not a sound, more like the earth itself remembering pain. My fingers find the scar automatically. It burns hotter with every step. Either I'm walking toward my greatest theft or my final one. The dragon knows I'm coming. I can feel its attention like a weight pressing down on my shoulders. 3 years it's waited. 3 years I've planned. But plans are just pretty lies we tell ourselves when we're too afraid to admit we're walking into our own funerals. The obsidian beach ends at a wall of heat. Beyond it lies the Ashen Gate, the dragon's first and only doorway. My hand reaches for the handle I know isn't there. The scar screams. Something shifts inside the mountain. A sound like laughter. Or maybe just the wind through dead God's teeth. I take one more step. The countdown begins, not in seconds or minutes, but in breaths. The dragon's breath, my last, unless I move now, that crack of gold will seal forever, taking my last chance with it. So I grip the first black fang of basalt and haul myself upward, knuckles burning against the glassy stone. The cliff shudders beneath me like a wounded beast exhaling its final fever. Each time my fingers close around a ridge, the rock flakes away into shimmering volcanic dust that glitters down my sleeves like powdered starlight. I climb by the rhythm of memory. 3 heartbeats to pull, 1 held breath to reach, 2 heartbeats to test the next hold. My mother used to say the dragon's breath once filled the lungs of wizards, letting them speak fire into spells. Now, all that remains is this sulphurous sigh leaking from the crater above, tasting of scorched pennies and old regrets. Funny how legends shrink when you meet them face to cliff. A gust slaps my cheek, hot as a slap from an ex-lover. I taste ash and something metallic, like the dragon is licking its chops up there. The higher I go, the thinner the air, until every inhale feels like sipping soup through a pinhole. Halfway up, my foot scrapes a ridge, and something answers back, a low, grinding moan that isn't wind or mountain. The glyph pulses under my palm, a knot of red light that flares once, twice, then bursts. I feel the heat bloom across my face like opening an oven full of ghosts. From the fissures around me, ember wraiths peel themselves out of the rock, bodies made of charcoal bones and furnace light. Their eyes are ember coals, bright and hungry. I count 6, maybe 7, circling like vultures that learn to crawl. The nearest wraith lunges, claws whistling past my ear close enough to singe hair. I twist sideways, the cliff face scraping my cheek raw, and yank the stolen shard of mirror shield from my belt. It's no bigger than a saucer, polished silver warped by dragon fire ages ago. When I angle it, the ember wraith sees its own reflection and shrieks, a sound like hot iron dropped into snow. Vanity, even in the undead. I slash the shard across its face. The creature recoils, sparks cascading from the wound like 4th of July tears. But there are too many. One wraps burning fingers around my ankle, and pain shoots up my leg like molten wire. I kick free, boot leather smoking, and scramble higher, using the wraith's own heat to melt handholds into the glassy stone. The air tastes of burnt hair and desperation. Another glyph flares beneath my left hand, and this time I roll away before it can bloom. The cliff answers with a shudder, showering me with razor flakes that slice the backs of my hands. I taste copper on my tongue, my blood, or the mountains, impossible to tell. I remember the thieves' creed my mentor drilled into me. Anything that burns can be stolen, if you're fast enough. So I spin the mirror shard, catching the wraith's reflections in a dizzy kaleidoscope. Their forms flicker, confused by the multiplied glare. One by one they hesitate, buying me heartbeats. 3, 4, 5. I vault upward, fingers finding a lip of obsidian that slices skin but holds. The summit vent glows above me, a mouth ready to swallow or speak. The final stretch is a chimney of heat and howling wind. I wedge my body inside, elbows scraping, knees trembling. The shard slips, clinks against stone, and for a breathless instant I think it's gone. My fingers close on cold metal at the last second. I taste salt. Tears or sweat, doesn't matter. I keep climbing, each movement a prayer whispered to the mountain itself. At last, I haul myself over the rim and roll onto the crater's lip. The air here is thick, syrupy, humming with power that makes my teeth ache. Far below, the dragon's breath pools in a lake of liquid gold, pulsing in time with my heartbeat. The door from the previous chapter stands open a finger's width, light bleeding out like honey. But between me and that promise lies a ring of glyphs, brighter now, spelling a word I can almost read. I take one step forward, and the ground beneath the glyphs begins to crack, glowing seams racing toward my boots like lightning made of lava. Something vast shifts below, and the dragon's last secret exhales my name on a wind that smells of cinnamon and doom. I grip the mirror shard so hard it cuts my palm again. The countdown resumes, not in breaths this time, but in the slow, deliberate grind of scales on stone. It's waking up. The stone archway parts like a sigh, and I tumble forward into a space that should not exist. The air tastes of burnt copper and old regret. My boots crunch on something brittle. No, not stone. Ash. Mountains of it. I stand up slow, afraid the sound of my own breathing might shatter the moment. Before me stretches a cavern so vast it has its own weather, spirals of warm wind lifting cinders in lazy whirlwinds. The ceiling glitters overhead, a dome of black crystal shot through with veins of molten gold. And everywhere, everywhere, are people. Or what used to be people. Cultists, I think. They kneel in perfect rows, hundreds of them, their bodies turned to charcoal statues. Their faces are tilted toward something at the far end of the chamber, lips parted as if caught mid-prayer. Some still wear scraps of crimson robes that flutter when the wind sighs through, like flags on a graveyard ship. I take a step. The ash swallows my foot to the ankle. Another step. My heart is counting beats I haven't earned yet. I tell myself, I'm just passing through, just need to find the other side, maybe barter what I find for safe passage down the mountain. But the air itself feels like a held breath, waiting. Then I see the altar. It rises from the ash like a fang of glass, jagged and translucent. On it rests an hourglass, taller than my chest, its brass frame twisted, as if once molten. The glass is cracked, fine hairline fractures glowing from within. And the sand? The sand isn't sand at all. It's liquid fire, dripping upward through the crack, defying gravity in slow, thick rivulets. Each drop burns a heartbeat's worth of time into the air before vanishing. I edge closer. The heat is gentle, almost welcoming, like a fever dream that doesn't want you to wake. My reflection dances inside the glass, fractured, orange, wrong. I reach out. The mirror shard in my pocket hums, pulling toward the hourglass like a compass needle gone mad. Don't, I whisper to myself. This is where the story ends for idiots. But my hand is already closing around the brass frame. The moment skin meets metal, the chamber exhales. A sound like dry leaves scraping across marble sweeps through the rows of statues. I smell cinnamon again, stronger now, laced with sulfur. Their heads turn, all of them, one by one, like dominoes falling in reverse. Charcoal necks creak, ash drifts from their shoulders, and their mouths, oh gods, their mouths open wider than bone should allow. A single word rises from every throat at once, not spoken, but breathed, a harmony of ember and regret. Feastress. The hourglass flares white. I stagger back, clutching the leaking sand in my fist, burning, but not burning me. It feels like holding a dying star. The cultists begin to stand. Joints pop like kindling. Their empty eye sockets glow with the same liquid fire now racing through my veins. I backpedal, boots sliding in the ash. I didn't mean. The words taste like soot. The hourglass wobbles on the altar, one final drop clinging to the lip. I didn't take enough. I took too much. I can't tell. Behind me, the archway I entered through is gone. Just black crystal wall where the exit used to be. The cultists take one synchronized step forward. Their robes ignite, not with flame, but with memory. Faces flickering across the fabric, a child laughing, a mother weeping, a dragon's wing eclipsing the sun. I turn and run deeper into the geode. The sand in my fist pulses like a second heartbeat. Every drop that escapes leaves a glowing footprint in the ash behind me, leading them straight to me. I'm not the thief anymore. I'm the breadcrumb. Somewhere ahead, the crystal walls narrow into a throat of red light. The air thickens, grows warmer. The dragon's name echoes again, closer this time, as if the mountain itself is remembering how to speak. I clutch the burning sand tighter, feeling it count down inside my chest. 1 heartbeat left, 10, I can't tell. The cultists' whispers follow, no longer separate voices, but one ancient chorus. And at the edge of hearing, something vast uncoils deeper in the dark. It's not just waking up anymore. It's listening. I step over the lip of the corridor, and the world tilts like a drunk compass. My boots leave the crystal floor, and suddenly I'm dangling upside down, hair streaming toward what used to be the ceiling, while liquid stone rushes past my ears in the wrong direction. Gravity, it seems, has taken the day off. The dragon's heartbeat booms through the rock, slow and certain, a war drum played by something the size of a mountain. Each thud shivers into my teeth. I count them. 1, 2, 3, trying to anchor myself, but the count keeps slipping away like sand through a broken hourglass. The burning grains in my fist pulse hotter. Answering the drum, I swing my legs, manage to flip upright, and land on what feels like the floor again. Until the floor peels away and becomes a wall. The maze is laughing at me, I swear it. I stagger forward, boots sticking to stone that's somehow colder than winter and hotter than forge fire at the same time. Shapes flicker in the glass. At first I think they're just heat ghosts, but they sharpen until I'm staring at myself. Only this version wears terror like a second skin, eyes wide, mouth open, and a silent scream. He's running, always running, and the path behind him is crumbling into nothing. That's the Kael who fled. The glass seems to murmur. The one who never came back for you. I tear my gaze away and push on, but the tunnel forks into a dozen mouths. Each mouth shows another reflection. One Kael kneels before a throne of molten gold, head bowed, dragon sigil branded on his neck. Another swings a blade at shadows that bleed real blood. They're all me and none of me, a gallery of futures I refuse to claim. The heartbeat quickens, boom, 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 like it's racing me. I picked the leftmost tunnel because it's the only one without a reflection. That has to mean something, right? The air tastes of sulfur and regret. My own pulse sinks with the dragons until I can't tell whose blood is whose. A staircase rises, or maybe falls. The direction changes every time I blink. I climb anyway, fingers scraping stone that sings in low, mournful chords. I never knew rock could grieve. Halfway up or down, the steps level into a bridge suspended over a river of liquid starlight. No, not starlight. Dragonfire condensed into a ribbon bright enough to blind. I shield my eyes and almost miss the figure waiting on the far side. It's me again, but calm, almost smiling. This one holds the burning sand in an open palm, letting it spill between fingers that don't blister. His eyes are ancient, older than the mountain. You're almost out of heartbeats, he says, though his lips don't move. Choose, flee, kneel, or fight, but choose fast. I step onto the bridge. The mirrored me steps forward too, mirroring me exactly, until our boots touch the same plank. Heat lashes my face. The bridge groans like it's alive. "Which one of us is real?" I ask, voice cracking. He tilts his head, amused. "Does it matter? The door only opens for the reflection that believes." I look down. The sand in my fist has dwindled to 7 grains, then 6. Each heartbeat burns one away. My mirrored hand reaches for mine, palm open, inviting. "Trust the one who still bleeds," I whisper to myself, though I'm not sure which self I mean. I close my fist around his wrist, or maybe he closes his around mine, and the bridge shack-souders. We fall together, reflections tangled, toward a door that wasn't there a heartbeat ago. The door is blacker than the void, edges glowing like coaxed embers. No handle, no hinge, just a single keyhole, shaped like a dragon's eye. The last grain of sand flares white, searing my palm. I stretch out, reaching for the keyhole, but my mirrored self yanks me closer. His mouth is at my ear now, breath hot as crucible flame. "Behind this door is the heart," he hisses. "But once you open it, you can't close it again. Are you sure you want to see what's left of you inside?" The heartbeat stops. Silence swallows everything. I press the burning grain against the keyhole. The metal screams, and the door begins to open. Just a crack, revealing a crimson glow brighter than any sun. But before I can step through, a shadow blocks the light from within. Something vast leans close, breathing my name like it invented the word. The door isn't opening for me. It's opening from the other side. The door yawns wider, heat washing over me like a living tide. I raise my arm to shield my face, expecting the dragon's maw, but instead I see a woman, or what's left of one. She stands in the center of a circular chamber of black glass, her left side carved from living flame, her right side drifting into gray ash that never quite falls away. Eyes of molten gold meet mine, and she smiles like we've kept dinner waiting. "Kael Emberlane," she says, my name crackling in the air. I wondered which thief would crawl this far. I try to speak, but the heat steals my breath. She lifts a hand, half skeletal, half fire, and gestures to the center of the room. There, cradled on a pedestal of cooling lava, rests the Heart-Flame, no bigger than a pomegranate, yet pulsing with the memory of every star that ever died. "I am Seraphine, last ember of the Magi," she announces, voice soft yet roaring in my bones, "and you, little burglar, have arrived at the moment of choice." I step inside, boots hissing against the glass floor. The air tastes of cinnamon and burning iron. Seraphine circles me, ash swirling in her wake. "Here is the covenant," she whispers, leaning so close I feel her heat on my cheek. "Touch the flame with me, share its power, and we raise magic from its grave together." Her fingers brush my sleeve. The fabric smolders but does not catch. Or clutch it to your selfish chest and watch the world freeze into clockwork. My heart slams against my ribs. I was sent to steal, not to save. Yet the thought of every hearth going cold, every tale turning to dust, claws at me harder than any curse. I glance at the Heart-Flame. It flickers like it's laughing. Seraphine extends her burning hand, palm open, waiting. I reach toward her, then pivot, snatching the phoenix quill tucked behind her ear. It's a slim feather of white gold fire that screams like a kettle. "Sorry, mage," I mutter. "I don't share." The quill sears my palm but does not burn through. Instead, it brands a sigil of wings onto my skin. Seraphine's expression curdles from hope to fury, faster than a struck match. "Fool," she hisses, and the word ignites the air. Ash erupts from her body, coiling around my limbs like chains of cinder. "You would doom us for a feather." Her voice cracks with sorrow and rage. "Then burn, thief. Burn from the marrow outward, until the dragon itself weighs your worth." The curse slams into my chest, a furnace door slammed shut. I stagger, every breath tasting of coal and regret. The Heart-Flame dims, as if disappointed. Seraphine turns away, shoulders sagging, half her body crumbling into drifting soot. "The labyrinth will close behind you," she murmurs. "Find the dragon's judgment or become the next layer of ash on these walls." I clutch the quill tighter. It beats like a second heart against mine. Somewhere beyond the chamber, a deep roar answers. shaking the obsidian until cracks race across the floor. I back toward the door, heat flaring in my veins with every heartbeat. The phoenix quill pulses brighter, guiding me or warning me. Seraphine does not look back. Her final words drift on the furnace wind. Run, little Ember. The dragon remembers every promise ever broken. I bolt through the doorway just as the iron slabs slam shut, the clang echoing like a coffin lid. The labyrinth ahead has changed. Corridors once stone are now tunnels of living flame, and every torch bears my face twisted in silent agony. The quill burns the brand deeper, and I swear I hear wings unfurling somewhere far above. I don't know which way leads out or deeper in. The only certainty is the heat growing inside my bones, counting down to the moment I ignite. And somewhere, the dragon's heartbeat has begun again, slow, ancient, and hungry. It knows my name, and it's getting louder. The heartbeat is no longer somewhere far above. It's inside my skull, thudding against bone like a fist on a locked gate. Each pulse pushes hot iron through my veins, and the corridor of fire that was supposed to be endless ends in a single, impossible archway. Beyond it stretches a bridge made not of stone or rope, but of scales. Giant, overlapping dragon scales, the color of burned honey and old blood. I step onto the first scale, and the world tilts. Suddenly I'm 7 again, crouched behind a rain barrel, while the last street magician in Cinderspire fumbles his final coin trick. The coin slips between his fingers and vanishes forever. No sparkle, no puff of smoke, just a dull clink against cobblestone. The memory stings like vinegar in a cut I forgot I had. The scale beneath me warms, then softens, threatening to let me drop into the starlight soup below. Another step, another scale, another memory. This time it's my sister, 8 and fearless, stretching her hand toward a fire sprite that flits away and dies midair. I watch her wonder crumble into ordinary dusk. The bridge sighs under my guilt, edges curling like burning paper. I try to retreat, but the archway behind me has already sealed into solid obsidian. Of course it has. I force myself forward, faster now. Each scale releases a new shard of yesterday. A bard whose lute strings snap and stay snapped. An old woman who forgets the word for phoenix. My own reflection in a muddy puddle the morning I realized pickpocketing was easier than believing in spells. The bridge ripples like a cat stretching after a long nap, and a drop of molten scale spatters my boot, sizzling through leather. The heartbeat doubles. No, triples. It's no longer a drum, it's a war charge. The scales begin to melt in earnest, dripping into the abyss like candle wax. I break into a run, soul slapping against memories that squish and hiss. A scale beneath me liquefies mid-stride. I leap, arms windmilling, and land on the next. My younger self flickers inside it, mouth open in a silent scream as the last firework fizzles out over the harbor. Sorry, kid. I really am. Heat climbs my spine. I smell singed hair. Mine. The bridge is narrowing to a single ridge no wider than a sword's edge. I balance like a tightrope walker in a furnace. To my left, a memory shows mother's eyes the day the hearth stopped glowing. To my right, father's hands the day the anvil went cold. Their faces blur, but the disappointment is crystal. Another scale dissolves. I jump again, barely catching the next ridge with my fingertips. Something roars. Not with sound, but with pressure, as if the sky itself inhales. The remaining scales peel upward, forming a tunnel now, forcing me to crawl. Each touch brands me. I see myself at 15, pocketing the guildmaster's runestone instead of returning it, sealing the city's fate for a handful of copper. The scale beneath my palm glows white-hot. I yank my hand away, skin blistering, and scramble forward on elbows and knees. At last, the tunnel spits me out onto solid obsidian. I roll, coughing smoke, and lie staring at the ceiling of, well, wherever this is. The heartbeat is so loud it rattles my teeth. But now, there's a second sound layered beneath it, a slow, deliberate scraping, like claws on glass. I sit up, every muscle screaming. Ahead, a staircase spirals downward, each step carved from a single black fang. The air tastes of sulfur and winter. I touch my chest where the Ember Covenant mark still burns. The skin there is hotter than the melted scales. It's close. Whatever's left of the dragon, its heart, its mind, its judgment, is waiting at the bottom of those fang steps, and I'm carrying every regret I just crawled across, dripping off me like molten gold. Maybe that's the price. Maybe the dragon wants to weigh my guilt against its own. I take the first step. The scraping stops. A single, unmistakable exhale echoes up the shaft, warm as a forge and twice as hungry. Something glints far below. Eyes, perhaps, or teeth, or both. Either way, the staircase is shrinking behind me, stone fangs grinding together, erasing retreat. I descend, heartbeat syncing with the scraping, until the two rhythms merge into one. Whatever happens next, there's no bridge left to burn. I step off the last stair, and the stone melts beneath my boot, soft as candle wax. No floor, only a hollow star spinning slowly in the dark, its inner surface glazed with living ember. Virmora coils around the heart of that star, tail through tail, scales dripping liquid gold. Her eye opens, wider than a cathedral rose window, and I feel the weight of every lie I ever told press against my ribs. She does not speak. Instead, the air itself folds into words that taste like smoke and regret. Choose, little thief. Oblivion or rebirth, both end in fire. My knees threaten mutiny, but I keep walking, mirror shard trembling in my gloved hand like a trapped starling. Each heartbeat is a drum her tail keeps time with. Thud, scrape, thud, until I can't tell which of us is the prisoner. Smell my own fear, charred paper and old blood, and wonder if she can bottle it for later. Probably. Dragons are hoarders after all, and terror ages well. The heart flame pulses between her claws, a shard no larger than a plum, yet heavier than every regret I carry. It sings, a low, hungry aria that tugs at the seams of my scarred chest. I remember the first time I stole something, Mother's locket, because she was already leaving, and I wanted proof love could be held. This is bigger. This is every locket, every promise, every bridge I burned, rolled into one impossible ember. Vermora's breath washes over me, warm as fresh bread, and twice as dangerous. My reflection flickers across her eye, warped, multiplied, 1,000 tiny keylocks all sprinting toward their own ends. She offers silence again, a velvet hush that promises the pain will simply stop. Just let go. And for one treacherous second, I almost do. Almost drop the mirror, almost fold into that welcoming dark. But the scar over my heart, her scar, the one she left the night the sky rained fire, itches like a brand. I raise the mirror shard, its surface cracked with memories of every face I failed to save. Clears throat. You took everything, I whisper, voice cracking like old ice. Now I'm taking the one thing you didn't offer. And I lunge. The world folds. The mirror meets the heart flame, and the sound does not sound at all, but the moment before every bell in existence rings at once. Light punches through my ribs, stitches my breath to the dragon's, stitches the dragon's to mine. I feel my own heart, small, scarred, stubborn, slip free like a sparrow, and flutter into the vacuum she guarded. Vermora roars without lungs, a vibration that rattles the bones of the star. Her coils loosen, just enough, and I see the trade complete. Her crimson shard now lodged behind my sternum, my gray, cracked heart cradled in her talons like a broken toy. Magic erupts, not outward but inward, a tide that pulls every color I've ever seen through my veins. I taste ash, I taste sunrise, I taste every goodbye I never said. The star chamber spins faster, edges blurring into streaks of molten gold and indigo night. Somewhere inside the roar, I hear her laughter. No, my laughter. No, both. The distinction no longer matters. We are the same breath now, little thief. The last thing I feel before the world forgets its own name is the shard settling, root hot, behind my ribs. It beats once, twice, not like a heart, but like a forge rekindled. Darkness folds in, velvet and absolute, and the staircase behind me is gone. Melted, never was. I hang in the void, neither falling nor flying, holding a dragon's heart while she holds mine. Somewhere far below, or above, or inside, the world draws a single shuddering breath. Ready or not, it whispers. The next chapter begins now. I hang there, heart to heart with a dying star, and the dragon's pulse becomes the metronome of a new universe. The darkness shatters like glass, each shard catching fire as it falls. I feel my ribs bloom outward, not breaking, but opening, petals of bone and breath, and through them pours every color that ever forgot its name. The volcano around us sighs its last, stone turning to smoke, smoke to memory. I do not walk out of the mountain. Walking implies feet and a path, and I have neither. I drift on the exhalation of the dragon's final laugh, a sound that cracks the world open like an egg and lets the yolk of wonder spill across the night. Cities far below blink awake, their windows catching colors they've never seen before. Children press faces to cold glass, mouths forming perfect circles of awe. The air itself tastes of cinnamon and comets. The sigil on my chest burns, but it is a gentle burn, like sunlight on skin that has missed the sky for far too long. I touch it, just once, and the mark flares, not with pain, but with promise. Clear's throat. It is a promise the dragon whispered without words, that wonder is not inherited, it is stolen daily, pocketed like a hot coal against the cold of forgetting. I carry that coal now, cupped in my palms, a single ember that refuses to cool. I descend, or perhaps the world rises to meet me. Streets that once echoed with the clatter of suspicion now shimmer with laughter that is not quite human, not quite dragon, but something newborn between them. A baker drops his tray of bread, and the loaves roll like golden moons across cobblestones that have turned to opal. No one scolds him. We are all too busy remembering how to breathe. At the edge of the market square I find her, a girl no taller than my elbow, hair the color of river mud, eyes wide as the horizon. She's the first to see the ember, to feel its heat kiss her cheeks. I kneel, not because she is small, but because wonder demands humility. This is yours now, I tell her, pressing the coal into her palms. It does not burn her. Instead, it settles into her lifeline like a seed made of sunrise. She laughs, and the sound is the dragon's exhale made small and human and perfect. Around us, the auroras pulse brighter, painting the sky with stories older than language. I realize they are not lights, but wings, millions of them, each feather a memory the world had misplaced. They beat once, twice, and the wind they raise smells of spring after the longest winter anyone can remember. I stand, and the sigil on my chest cools to a gentle thrum. The dragon is gone, truly gone, yet her heartbeat lives in every footstep I take. I am no longer thief nor hero, just the keeper of a promise too bright to hoard. The girl runs past me, ember held high like a lantern, and every adult she passes reaches out, not to take, but to warm their fingers. The line between giving and receiving blurs until it vanishes entirely. Night deepens, but no one seeks their beds. Songs rise, wordless and ancient, weaving through the streets like smoke. I lean against a fountain carved from dragon bone marble and watch constellations rearrange themselves into shapes that wink and bow. Somewhere a dog howls harmony, and the moon, fat and silver, joins in. The girl returns, ember now a small sun cupped to her chest. She offers it back, eyes solemn. I shake my head. Keep it, I say, and when it cools, steal another. She grins, teeth bright as new stars, and races off to share the warmth with shadows that have waited lifetimes to feel light. I watch until her silhouette dissolves into the tapestry of the night, and the ache in my chest is no longer loss, but fullness. I walk on, past sleeping houses and waking hearts, until the city thins into meadow, and the meadow into sky. The auroras follow like loyal hounds, painting my footprints gold. At the horizon, the first true dawn appears, not the dull gray of obligation, but a rose-gold blush of possibility, I close my eyes and feel the dragon's laughter settle into my bones like a lullaby older than pain. When I open them again, the world is quiet, the kind of quiet that holds every note it will ever sing. The ember the girl carries has already split into 2, then 4, then more than numbers can cradle. Cities I have never seen will wake tomorrow to find wonder waiting on their doorsteps like a stray cat that refuses to leave. And somewhere, in every laugh, in every gasp, the dragon breathes again. So I turn my face to the newborn sky, arms wide, and speak the last words I will ever need. Thank you for letting me steal the stars. The wind carries them upward, where they spark and become the first constellation named by children who will never forget how to wonder